Isolation and loneliness is massive. I mean, some of the things that we dealt with socially, as far as like, gun people and, people going into public locations and doing heinous acts, was because they were on social media and they reached out for help because they were feeling a certain way and nobody responded to them. So they felt alone and they felt like they had to do something that was absolutely horrible to get the attention, even though that's not the right way.
It happens.
So on Where We All Meet, we have WAM ambassadors, as we call them. And they basically, like, let's just say if you build a profile, you have a great life story, but you don't have any friends. For one, we want to reach out to you because did you just come to town? So we just kind of want to create that environment of, hey, listen, it's okay. Be you, get out the house. There's others that's going to enjoy you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Crystal Prevet, and thank you for tuning in to Crystal Clear Business Podcast. Today, we have Gerald Lacey II, and we're going to learn everything that inspires him to be an incredible entrepreneur and a little bit more about his business. Thanks for coming and visiting us today, Gerald, and tell our audience a little bit about who you are and what makes you special.
First of all, thank you for having me. I feel incredibly blessed to just really be in the presence of such like pure energy. So thank you.
My pleasure.
So my name is Gerald Lacey II, and from Los Angeles, Crenshaw district. Went to the University of Hawaiʻi. Been kind of an entrepreneur my whole life. Only had one job really, and it kind of scared me straight on working when I was in college. So I've been going at it as an entrepreneur ever since, from, car washes to custom cars to fashion to music to a bunch of different things. So at different eras, So I have a little bit of insight to where now I'm in technology and we're building solutions that can provide options for people. Right now, it just kind of is what it is, but we have software in multiple verticals that hopefully empower people with solutions that make them smile.
I love that. And I love what you said about like the evolution of business for you. Like it started, in these smaller jobs that may not have thought that they would lead up to where you're at now. But isn't it ironic how some of those littler jobs give you tools that you really needed to take that next step?
Yes.
You want to tell us how you saw that unfold a little bit in your life?
Very interestingly, right? I went head on. I played football at the University of Hawaiʻi. So that was a blessing, for one, coming from the inner city, Crenshaw district, where, every day was had major decisions attached to it, right? Where you were going to go, how you looked and faithful to situation. Like there's a lot of things as far as survival. So when I had the opportunity to go, I had some other opportunities to much colder places or stay kind of local. But when I had the opportunity to go to Hawaii, I had been boogie boarding. My dad used to take me boogie boarding when I was younger. So I was like, wow, this would be incredible. Get to play football, go to college, get a free education, and just get to enjoy some life. So went there, took full advantage of it, graduated with a degree in sociology. I was a football player. That's kind of what we did. Even though I was thinking business the whole time, I kind of maybe, took the easy route. But I feel like in God's plan for my life, me having that sociology degree actually is probably the most valuable for where I am now, right? Because knowing that I have almost an anthropological view on the things that we were actually faced with in a certain demographic, faced with, now that I'm a little bit more involved in thought in that paradigm, the things that we had to deal with, like I can actually give almost an anthropological view of that. Right. So, but the business, the story was, I just went head on. Like I obviously had a sociology degree, but my dad had big visions and was always trying to figure out a business. So I kind of always had that in my mind. So I just went at it.
So business was the main goal, but that sociology degree kind of gave you a bigger perspective of your mindset and your your programs growing up? Because I mean, coming from Crenshaw, like you said, like your brain works differently. Like if you take an animal or a human that's in those traumatic type of environments, their brain actually gets wired to be hyper vigilant for survival. So there are more decisions that you guys have to make. There people that have been in some of these traumatic environments, their brain is got twice as many connections because it needs them for survival. Like if you were to take a little baby bunny and put it in a safe environment, and then you were to take a baby bunny and it was in a traumatic environment, it would rewire itself to survive. So that's what the human brain does as well, is it kind of like creates that hypervigilance. So once it sounds like once you got to that awareness of like who you are, why you were the way you were, your business kind of was able to shift because you understood like where you were coming from.
Yes, and yes. So the value, I feel, is again part of the plan for me to have that level of awareness, right, that you needed, right? So I was literally trained to be in multiple situations at all times. So as I grew up and I traveled to other places in Brazil and was in favelas and just being kind of around the country and in different places in the world by myself, I feel like there was a lot of value in having that. And there's also value in the Crenshaw district having a bird's eye view of the Hollywood sign, right? So so no matter what you were in, right in our view, we knew that there's something magical happening over there, and pretty much anything is possible because we live really in Hollywood. Like it's Los Angeles, but I could see the Hollywood sign. So it's kind of like
a glimmer of hope.
Yeah, like it's kind of like, and then obviously there was. I grew up at a time where there was starting to be success in minority communities where you have to visualize success, even though there were things historically there's been success. It's just we weren't. The era that I came up with, it just started to be apparent a little bit more rapidly because there was different ways to get money at that time in the 80s and the 90s in Los Angeles. So
yeah, that's so neat, so powerful that how our environment can change us, but also it can make us who we are. It's like two children that grew up in the same house, and like maybe if the house was messy, then maybe one person goes on to have like a messy house and one goes to have a clean house. Like there's all these different routes and there's all these possibilities. But I love what you said about that Hollywood sign. It just like feels like it was like kind of a glimmer of like that possibility that was there. Like you said, there was a lot of suppression, but there was a lot of potential for something greater to come. And sounds like you had a good family that was kind of trying to guide you towards business.
And sports.
Yeah, business and sports.
Sport. It was sports. But I always was able just to see what my dad's tenacity was for what he wanted for us. Like we had, so when my mom and dad were together, we lived like at the foot of Baldwin Hills, which is now it's turned into be something completely different. But you know, it's at the foot of Baldwin Hills where we had a California shaped swimming pool, high dive, you know, plenty of space, big lot, all the trees. You know what I mean? When my parents split, then I had more of I guess I want to say hood lifestyle. You know, because I was a little bit more at 49th and Gramercy, so you know it was some interesting dynamics. But I do feel like as now that I'm in a position to provide solutions globally, like keeping those things in mind as we build, you know, for everybody. And then as I've been blessed enough to evolve through many phases of life and have access to different people on different levels of life, I'm able to actually hopefully maximize that and then be able to provide a roadmap all the way back to minorities and underserved or people that don't have or don't feel like they have a Hollywood sign to go after.
Yeah, because it's there. They might not be able to see it as prominently. So what's something that you're working on right now that lights you up?
So interestingly enough, everything that we're doing right now is super exciting because we've been in the garage for like 10 years, literally. My partners and I really putting together these pieces of what's now available in the App Store. So I'm actually the consultant for Where We All Meet and part of just kind of developing the thought process, the branding, but it's really about being your authentic self. We wanted to create a platform that mirrors how humans actually interact and connect, right? Everything is so digital, everything is so social, but in most of the spaces that exist now, it's you're kind of pushing to be something, right? Because if it's one thing might get a bunch of likes and one thing may not get a bunch of likes or get a bunch of comments, so then you'll start naturally going toward that thing that gets more likes. And for our younger demographics, it's caused people to do things that they may not normally be able would not normally do if they were just being able to be their authentic selves.
Yeah, like masking a little bit, like putting up the front to whichever version people like the best instead of going with your authentic energy of who you really are and what you're trying to bring out to the world. So, how does the app work?
So you do have an area to show your life story.
Mm-hmm.
So, but there's no likes, no comments, there's no timeline. So it's really just an authentic view of who you are, and you can have your own friend circle. So it could just be you, your friends, and families, and it's geolocated, event based. So we want to kind of get people off of their phones and back into interacting in real life. So it's geolocated, event based. So be in the know everywhere you go. So if you land in San Diego and you want to know what's cool and the things that you enjoy, you'd be able to book right from the site and also invite your friends. Like, for example, I have family in San Diego. If once where we all meet is up, I would say, hey, send my cousins, hey, I'm in town, I saw this cool thing to go, boom, send them an invite. Haven't seen them in a while, gives them an opportunity to get out the house, gives us a chance to interact.
I love
and that's you can use that for free. So if it's just your friends and family, there's no cost. If you want to explore outside of your network, build a network, maybe meet somebody to end up with or marry, then you would have to upgrade to be a premium member. So that allows you to communicate and take full advantage of the site. So we have fully secure communications. We built our own FaceTime. Well, it's not really FaceTime. We built our own video chat app that's not third party, so it's completely secure. Just a few different tools for you to be able to live your best life.
That's so cool. Yeah, I love how technology can also be used to bridge the gap between people. A lot of people are like, oh no, this technology is going to take away from everyone. And I love what you said about, yeah, kind of getting off the phones, but also using it when you are using it as a tool and a resource to connect. So I have a veterans mental health charity that I work with that has an AI component that it's on Discord called Warrior Gamer Foundation, and they can push a button and in 27 seconds have an AI tool connect them to a human, and they've saved 137 lives because of this technology that helps connect a real human to this person that's suffering. And I see what you're doing is kind of on a similar scale of like where you're wanting to connect people. If someone was in a town, maybe where they're by themselves, maybe they could meet up with friends and family and maybe just kind of use it as an easier tool to connect each other versus putting up the persona of being happy and being connected, where they're saying isolation is going to become one of the next epidemics because people tend to isolate.
Literally. So we build solutions for that. So isolation and loneliness is massive. I mean, some of the things that we dealt with socially, as far as like, gun people and, people going into public locations and doing heinous acts, was because they were on social media and they reached out for help because they were feeling a certain way and nobody responded to them. So they felt alone and they felt like they had to do something that was absolutely horrible to get their attention, even though that's not the right way.
It happens.
So on Where We All Meet, we have ambassadors, as we call them, and they basically, like, let's just say if you build a profile, you have a great life story, but you don't have any friends. For one, we want to reach out to you because did you just come to town, or whatever the reason is. One, we want to make sure a real person if you respond, and two, if you are alone, then hey, listen, we have these events. You can go. We have ambassadors that are also at the events for people that go alone, or we're usually partnered with that location, so they understand that we are welcoming some people alone. So we just kind of want to create that environment of, hey, listen, it's okay. Be you, get out the house. There's others that's going to enjoy you, and we want to have these events. You can also book getaways. So whether it's girls trips, guys trips, which historically those trips are hard to book, right? Everybody's trying to, who's coordinating, who's doing this, who's doing that. So on where we all meet, you could just book your own and send everybody the invite, and then they would have control of their own booking. So then, hey, listen, we sent you the invite, all the information's right here. Now you're dealing direct. So just a few tools to help people really start to enjoy life a little more.
That's so valuable, because how many times have people considered doing those events and then we're like, no, the logistics are too much, or
Too much.
I just don't feel like dealing with that. And so something like this could really help kind of bridge that gap and get people out doing more things. And I think if the pandemic taught us anything, is like, it does not feel authentic to be isolated and separated from one another. Like, we really are craving more deep and more meaningful relationships from one another. And whether it's getting to be here in the podcast, or to our audience out listening to us, like, we love you. Thanks for tuning in. You're a special asset to the world. And I truly believe that the more we love one another, the better it's going to be for everyone. So I love seeing tools and resources like what you've created to kind of help people, that in just a little gentle nudge in the right direction, and using technology to help people kind of find those connections, so they don't have to feel like they're, oh, I'll just spend one more day sitting on the couch or playing video games, or those virtual realities take away from our real realities
and options.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. So and luckily we grew up social too. So, and then having the different experiences, we have relationships around the world that ultimately we know, and the whole idea is it's where we all meet, right? Everything for everybody everywhere. So if it's a dive bar and they're supposed to have peanuts on the ground, like, we may not know you, but as long as you're on brand, so when our members go, they have that experience because they're going specifically for that. So we'll essentially be able to kind of curate experiences and partner with amazing brands that are doing amazing things, and just help and just assist each other to grow. So
Yeah. Well,
that's where we all meet.
There's a lot of power in collaboration. Some people think, oh, I gotta like stick to myself so I can get to the top, because if I let other people in, then they're gonna get ahead of me. But I think, that's something that people should like stop. And it sounds like you guys have, as a company, have kind of really figured that out, that there's no competition at the top. All the competition's at the bottom. Like, the higher up we go in life, there's less people at the top. There's less people that have made it, but some of these processes and tools and abilities to connect people is like, yes, these businesses that you're probably looking at, like the restaurant with the peanuts on the floor, like, they probably need more customers to walk into their store, and people are looking for an event, place to host events. And you can kind of put these two together, and then also invite more people into it, so people aren't feeling isolated. I can see that the more businesses you bring in, that will just keep adding value to your platform.
Yes, no, 100%. Like, you really understand the model. So we are focusing on restaurants. So every restaurant has a slow time. So like, we would like to do events, and we're also partnering with people that do events. So giving you a chance to even expand your brand, should be something you're interested in, because it's difficult to have the team as a small event person. Like, you could be killing it in your city though, but when you start thinking about logistics and going to other places and all that, it takes a few more moving parts, right? So that you may or may not, but if there's a way to partner and have that brand or your experience be duplicable, that gives you also an opportunity to expand your brand. And then now more people if you want to go nationwide, you may want people to come to your state or to your city, but if you want to create that experience nationwide and then globally through where we all meet, we can kind of have those types of events. So as your brand expands, really, no matter what you're doing, things get easier. And I wanted to bring something else, because you alluded to something in regards to, there's there's not as many people at the top. So also on WAM, we have an area called the VIP Connects. So these are people that are either an actual, celebrity, or someone that has made it to a certain level, or this is someone who has connections to a lot of those people. And so it's two different things. So you may have a lot of friends maybe in Hollywood, or that are athletes, or that are, top doctors, but they kind of want to interact, but they don't want to be at the forefront, right? They have a lot to
Mm-hmm.
lose. They need that kind of that buffer. And the best way to meet somebody is through somebody, right? Because
Yeah.
there's that level of accountability. Like if you introduce me to someone, there's always going to be that common ground. And because you are crystal mind and crystal clear, then like, there would be like, hey, this is kind of the vibe that we're on. So there's a level of accountability. So with the VIP Connects, that allows for someone who may not have access to that level to basically submit to that VIP Connect. And as long as they're on because they have to protect the energy of their friends, right?
Mm-hmm.
So once you let them into that circle, they still can't reach the friends yet. They still have to be accepted individually, but now they can get invited to the special events. They are in the room. So once you get in the room, then it's up to you,
I
right?
love
So
that. Yeah, a lot of us who have invested to be at these levels have had to invest in lots of different coaches or mentors or programs, or it can be really expensive. I know I've probably spent over $100,000 on coaches and getting to the level of success that I'm at. But it sounds like this could kind of help someone that maybe doesn't have the tools and resources to put themselves out there to get to in those rooms, because to maybe like
yeah.
few degrees easier of
Yes.
separation.
And sometimes that's all you
Mhm.
need, right? Is
Yeah,
because you provide value in whatever room that you go in or in every, relationship, and then you become valuable. And then as you become valuable, then you become invaluable. And then it's sky is the limit if there is one. Well, there actually isn't any, but yeah.
yeah, I'm more quantum too.
Yeah, there
Like,
isn't any. Let me correct myself,
yeah, I
as
love
we talk about,
it.
traditions and constraints that were, kind of imposed upon us, right? Which
Yeah,
that is a perfect one, right? Sky is the limit, but there, even though it's supposed to be infinite, but really to even say that there is already puts in the mindset that there's a limit, even if it's
exactly.
just the sky, because is that it?
But how amazing that we're at a point in humanity that we're able to pick up on these little nuances, like to correct ourselves. Like you just corrected yourself,
Yeah.
like right as you say, you're like, oh, cancel. Like that's something I teach my clients is like, if you say something and then you realize that what you just said isn't true, like, go back and tell yourself, no, that's not true. Like let's rewrite that, because that's the awareness that it really does begin with.
Yes.
And the more you do that, the more you'll start to cultivate that mindset, and that it's like an internal narrative that we don't really realize. We're talking to ourselves and answering ourselves back. And even things like, oh, why did I like do that? That was such a dumb mistake. It's like, wait, no, be, I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be, the
Mhm.
exact time I'm supposed to be there. Everything, I like to say, like the universe is conspiring in my favor. Like I might not know the reason why these things are happening, but there's definitely got to be a reason behind all of that. Like even just the fact that you get to sit here across from me today, and all of the humans that are in the world, you get to be here on the podcast, and our incredible viewers get to hear a little bit about your platform and how you're bringing authenticity into the world. And I'd love to know, just like a little side note, like what's something that someone that normally meets you doesn't know about you?
Hmm. Uh, I think that maybe my mission is really to make a large enough impact to be able to make a difference for inner city kids.
Hmm.
I feel like I have a lot of value to bring to them. And I actually been putting in some work, and we were talking about this, so I have to show the prop. But so this is something that, in my personal brand is the Visionary. So I wrote a book called The Visionary: Collaboration of Visionary Insights, and it was in 2018. So it was kind of it was just a time that the information had to come out, right? Because I had to
Yeah.
make room for new information. I just felt bottled up. So realistically, it took me 30 days to write and edit it. My mom helped me edit it. A couple of friends looked over it a couple of times, and boom, I had to just let it go to create,
Yeah.
new room. So that's the brand. So this is the Junior Visionary Workbook, and it's part of the Visionary Protege series. My ultimate goal for this is to either make it an elective or get it added into some level of curriculum somewhere, because we do have an educational software that we built. But it's just basically about mindset and entrepreneurship, and really kind of providing options early, keeping them curious, right?
Yes.
Making sure that they're courageous, making sure that they understand what camaraderie is, right? And how to really not ever have it be a big me, little you, or vice versa, right? Because in a team, right, it's just about the win. Like everybody gets a ring when they win the championship, when the confetti flies, like everybody gets a ring, right? So whatever your role was doesn't matter as long as we can win, right? So I feel like a lot of those thought processes are in here for the youth, and this is designed for ages 12 to 18, but it could be, there's probably could be some value for any ages. And then I'm going to do one for ages 8 to 12, just to kind of, that's a good age to really catch them at. But my real life's mission though is to end the hunger for things, because growing up in the inner city, it causes a lot of the issues, and we're still seeing that right now. People are ending other people's lives, and people are taking penitentiary chances to for the hunger of things. So through technology and through us being able to provide these solutions, we want to create mechanisms that create wealth that maybe not in this generation, but in a few generations, everybody in the inner city will have everything that they, mostly everything that they want. And then if they want other things, and there'll be mechanisms in place that they know that they can do to achieve these goals. So once we do that, it's going to eliminate at least half, if not 75% of the violence and the crime and the people going to jail. And then if there's mental health issues, then now we know how to address them. So
Yeah. Well, I love what you're saying about the youth, because 90 almost all of our mental programs are built by the between the ages of 1 and 8 years old. So most of our foundation is primarily created at that age. Our brain is in a special brainwave state called the theta brainwave state, which is the only brainwave state that's reprogrammable. So kind of like the old days when we have a floppy disk and that would be what would run our computer, or these days, like if we download an app, then that's what will run on our phone. So those first 8 years really end up creating what we're looking for, like the code of what we want to create our life out of. So by working with these younger kids, and with when you're getting straight just a little bit out of that path, where instead of there being being programmed with some of that stuff, like if you can stack their skills and stack their resources and help them gain awareness to see out of that the kind of environment that they were brought up in, and see that Hollywood sign, or see one person that cares about them enough to create a book or to create an app that could connect them to people. Our generation of working with our youth is definitely going to help in the entire world, because I mean, if we teach them how to have the tools and resources, and in just a few generations, we'll see a huge difference and I think we're already starting to see it. I mean, as you go back into the Depression era and further back, like people had a rough life. It might look different now. I think there's a lot more social pressures for our youth than there ever were, but that's we're walking a fine line here with technology, where we're in an age where we're the guinea pigs in some regards. Like there were I remember not having a phone, like a cell phone growing up, but these next generation will never remember not having a cell phone.
Social engineering exists, and it's happening. It's real. So it's gonna take the people like us that are caring, and when we're talking to outside before the meeting, is just like really reaching back and offering a different perspective, providing infrastructure, providing options, and letting them know that it's valuable for you to challenge something that you read, because if it's science, it's science. If it's not science, if it's not actually valid, if it's questionable, then it could be questionable. Like, so. And I feel like we'll evolve the more that there's, crystal clear mindsets and people thinking like that. I feel like.
What's your thought on, because there's so much information now that, like, really, if you had one point and you were trying to prove that point, you could probably prove that point from social, like online media or looking things up. And you could also prove the opposite point if you were really looking deep enough, because there's so much information. There's contradicting studies. And so what would you think about like that point of reality, that perspective?
Wow, that's a very interesting question. I think the only thing that I could point to that is really definitive, other than gravity exists, is that there is no limitations, right?
Yeah.
Because, it's true every time that
Mm-hmm.
if you're higher than something in this atmosphere and you have nothing under you, you will fall. So that is science, right?
Undeniable.
Like, it's undeniable. Like, I haven't seen that one work different
Yeah.
yet, right? So let's not be
Little
randomly
CGI,
creative,
but
right?
no.
Yeah, I mean, some of these guys are defying what I ever thought possible, with jumping off of stuff. I'm like, this is amazing. And then I think just having no limitations, because I feel like most things are designed to structure, to restrict you, to make you go down a certain lane, right? So I think if you approach everything with there's no limitations, then it'll keep you curious enough. And if it matters to you enough, then you'll do the research to find the answer. Some things won't be so important. Right?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, unless I'm not sure if I ever know how they make Beyond Meat, but I eat it sometimes, right? So, I'm just saying, like,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know, it's very interesting, but yeah, I think that, because it all starts from a dream. Like, how big is your dream? Even the position. I mean, I'm an inner city kid, and sitting in position with 3 apps on the App Store. My consulting firm or my marketing firm, we're part of the go-to-market strategies. I'm trying to build a team in a landscape that is unfamiliar to a lot of the people that I have grown up with, and then everybody. So it's been an interesting dynamic to really be in this space. And I wanted to, from the community perspective, the other platform that we're launching is called the Dash Shops, and it's really about empowering, putting the hands of retail back in the hands of the local brick and mortars, the community businesses, because they're having so many issues.
Yeah.
But in that, we're donating 10% of all of our profits to a local charity. So these are also things that we want to be empowering the community, creating jobs, creating the ability for them to move inventory so their stores stay up. They're not having that story of, I invested everything in my life. I really wanted to do this, or this is my dream, and now it's no longer here because there are no customers, because everybody's ordering online. So with the Dash Shop, we actually offer delivery within the hour, for community businesses. So, and we don't take any fees from the drivers and no fees from the store. So really, we're just a concierge service. So everything that we're doing is about empowering. We want to see everybody win.
Yeah. Kind of reminds me of that saying from Henry Ford, whether you believe you can or you believe you can't, you're right. Yeah. And it's like people now, they're running the mile in like times that like 10 years ago, they just never even thought would be touched. And like you said, like we're kind of just like I think it's probably human nature to push the boundaries and like push the limits. I mean, you said you got a teenager. I know just as a parent, it's human nature to push boundaries a little bit.
Yeah.
But the fact that we can see these areas, that sounds like you were able to kind of identify some things in your childhood and in your life growing up that you don't want to perpetuate. Yeah. So that you saw these issues with the inner city lifestyle, and you saw there was some lack. You saw that there was some like social, economical setbacks. And I see you like making moves to correct some of those injustices. So like, first of all, like props to you for like not just thinking about it, but actually doing it. But also I think it's really great, like as a humanity, to see the things that didn't work right and to correct them. Because I think maybe there was a reason. Maybe you were brought into that type of a lifestyle. Because had you parents not separated, your perspective, it sounds like, would have been completely different.
Oh, we were close. We just weren't in it like that.
Yeah.
And so it's just the other side. Interesting enough about LA is like some of it looks really pretty, but it could at times it could turn into something else. So yes, though, this is the journey. I feel like I've been kind of put in position as a messenger,
Mm-hmm.
to be able to have enough information to have done it to where I can speak from experience, and that'll help. I feel like the message resonate because for inner city kids, there's only a few different options, and I kind of did almost all the options that you could do from the inner city. So like I can actually speak from having to make decisions in that paradigm. So I feel like it had to be that's a higher power than me, right? Because I didn't
Yep.
really create that. Like I guess I was living in that simulation because I wasn't responsible for any of that. For my parents, being together, for them separating, from where my grandparents when they landed in Los Angeles from Nashville, where they landed, like all these different dynamics, I had nothing to do with. So
So if you could kind of look back at that younger version of you and right after the separation when you're kind of like trying to get things figured out and you're settling into this like kind of like life had changed a little bit, or to someone that's maybe living in that environment right now, that's an inner city youth, or that has a child that's an inner city youth, what are three takeaways that you would want that person to know, or your younger version of yourself? Like what's something that you could like tell someone in the audience or tell that younger
mm,
version of you that would kind of help you like get past some of those situations?
uh, apply yourself. Have a vision. It's okay to it might go into forward, but this is similar. Like allow your imagination to run with no limits, and realize that no matter how big that you think, that there's a pathway to get there, right? And just go for it, because the situation, there's always options, right?
Mhm.
And if you're not in a situation where it's like life or death and you have time to think, it's okay to think, right? Because the end result of thinking is probably going to be different than reacting. So take
Mhm.
that time, and those moments pass so fast that, especially if you're young, you're going to have so many more moments that taking 15 seconds to think, even if you feel disrespected through voice, right? Because
Mhm.
it's really not you. If someone is speaking loudly or calling you out of your name, it really has nothing to do with you if you didn't start it, if you didn't instigate it. So realistically, if you just take a deep breath and realize that this person must be really going through some things for them to be reacting this way, and if their hands are down and they're not about to hit you or stab you or do anything like that, then there's really a chance for you to like not do something that could change your life forever.
So come up with a dream,
And big too.
take a moment to assess how you're going to get there, and then take action.
Go for it.
Just
Yeah.
go for it.
And then when you do, another thing that's I think is massively important, because we grew up in an area that had incredible athletes and geniuses, and it was just a very innovative time. Like right in the center
Yeah.
of LA, a lot of people have gone on to be great things from our nucleus of space. But I feel like another thing that, like, when you're talented, and now it's different. So we didn't have all the training and the training videos and all
Yeah.
that stuff. So it's kind of different. If there's somebody sees something in you, you're going to be in a program now.
Yeah.
Back then, there was not a lot of programs. You had to really know somebody, or really be in an affluent area, or really, be an all-American, or something for you to maybe have access. But just if you there's a glimmer of sight of something, like be aware enough to see that, oh, I'm really good at art, or I'm really good at math, or I'm really good at whatever it is, and go for it. Don't just be a mathematician and don't go for it, because that's millions of dollars, potentially hundreds of millions of dollars, and potentially billions of dollars if you're a mathematician. Although you can't see it now, understand those numbers, and there's really no limitations, right? If you have a good jump shot, keep shooting. Like all these
Yeah.
different things, or whatever the perspective, or whatever your dream is, or whatever you get good at. If it's music, do it. Go for it.
Yeah. And also be willing to fail along the process, because I mean,
Mhm.
you see these professional golfers and it's like, oh, I want to be like you someday. And it's like, unless you're willing to put in the work. So
Don't be so hard on yourself.
yeah, I mean, like how many shots do you think Michael Jordan didn't make? But how many then he did? It's like that repetition is part of the subconscious mind, is doing things over, but also like giving yourself a little grace for the evolution process. Because
Mm.
I mean, just like your childhood, how there was one path you could have went down if your parents had stayed together, and then it kind of altered a little bit when they separated. I mean, there's a version of you that could have been that other kid that maybe didn't see the perspective. I mean, you probably would have seen it a little bit from your friends and family, like outlying community, but those little shifts in our perspective can kind of redirect us from time to time.
No, for sure. I mean, I happen to be blessed because we had such a big family, and we had all kinds of events. So I definitely did have a lot of different examples, and I feel like ultimately I'm just still kind of making my own decisions based on my paradigm. And as I figure out life, I feel like I was blessed enough to not be pigeonholed, but maybe I am. Maybe in the way I'm thinking, I'm pigeonholed into that. I don't know, but I just feel like I've always kind of looked at things from um, just from a larger perspective. And
Yeah. It's kind of like life is like one of those onions that you got to just keep peeling back the layers. And as you peel it back, you find more parts of ourselves that we might not have even realized were there. But perception is so key because like you said, might be limitations that we might not see, or there might be something underlying that's kind of holding us back. But just continuing to go after our dreams, no matter what they are. Like if there's a setback, like, something goes wrong, don't go wrong with it. Just
don't be so hard
pivot.
on yourself.
Yep, don't be so hard on yourself.
That's one thing I've noticed is it seems like the kids are a little bit more emotional than before. They hang on things a little bit more, or like that wasn't. We didn't really do that as much. Of course, we lost a game, everybody would be,
Yeah.
maybe if it was a big game or something, we'd be destroyed. But I just feel like if you miss a layup, like, dude, that's part of the game because you haven't done enough layups. You know, you need to not miss layups. And then sometimes people in the NBA that's getting paid $30 million every now and then, they miss a layup.
Yeah.
So it's like along with what you said, like you can't be hard on yourself because this journey is going to be continuous, and you're going to get better, and you're going to learn more, and you're going to get exposed to different things. Like, I'm so curious to hear more about everything that you do as far as just transformation and the ability to be able to change and to constantly just transcend and transmute energies. Like, I'm so interested. I don't know how we're going to do that, but whether maybe I interview you on a vision session and then I can ask all the questions, because I feel like just in the few seconds that we spoke about it, I feel like that's so valuable.
Well, and I think that's something that the audience should be aware of too, is just because you think or feel or react a certain way, even if you've done it your whole life, there might be a more infinite well of possibilities that you still haven't tapped into. And just like that onion, just because you've reacted one way in life your whole life, it might not be how you react in the future. So I think a lot of the things is there's two things. Is there exposure therapy, which some of these kids that have maybe not put themselves out there to lose as many times, they need to feel that feeling of that loss so that they have that drive to try again and to take that wisdom and apply it. But it's kind of like a cup of coffee. When the cup of coffee is up to the brim, it just takes one little shift and the coffee spills over, right? And I think that's where we're at a little bit as a society, because it's like all that social pressure, the social media, all of the things. It's like that's what's filling that coffee cup up to the brim, to where those kids, when they react, it's not just the thing that they're reacting at. They're reacting about the person that bullied them online, or all of those other things that took, their home environment, their school environment, all of these other things that kind of raise the level of intensity in that coffee cup, so to speak, because we didn't have those same pressures. I mean, we grew up in a time where there was a TV commercial that said, "It's that time of night. Make sure you know where your kids are at." They had to have a reminder commercial to be like, "Your kids are your kids home?" There's just a whole different.
Outside.
Yeah, we were outside,
and not trying to come inside.
Yeah, no.
I can't get mom God, but.
It was just a different world. But now the pressure is like they can't turn a corner without people knowing where they're at and being tracked. And I mean, it kind of doesn't expose them to that freedom of being able to make their own decisions. And like back to that little baby bunny, if you have that baby bunny that's like its brain's wired to be hyper vigilant, but then you're protecting it every move it's making, it can't make its own decisions, that's going to affect the chemistry of that bunny's brain too, because it's like it's wanting to protect itself, it's wanting all of this information. But if you're like, just go to school and do this and that, and it doesn't have that ability to like make its own decisions and learn how to like fend for itself, I think as humans, like I think there was something to be said about like us learning our lessons and scraping our knees and
So
yeah.
how do you create that like nowadays? Because it seems like it's so far. Like, I mean, do we have to manufacture the environments again? Because parents are scared to let the kid ride their bike to the park. It's like, but that's how we got to the park. Like, there was no other way. You can get dropped off at the park. You know what I mean? Or not, you need to go to the park with your parents. So, like, how do we create these environments again and create that air of comfortability that allows parents to be free? Maybe that's something that we can add as we move forward with this mindset, is that we start creating environments to where it becomes natural again. Maybe I'm just trying to.
Well, and each generation's a little different. Like one generation, they're really hard on their kids, and then sometimes the next generation's really soft on their kids. And then because of that, the next generation needs to be a little bit harder. I mean, it's not exactly as linear as everything seems. Like there are cycles of things that are happening behind the background of all of reality. And you see it when we go into a war, like just the way that we react as a collective. You saw it with the pandemic and with 9/11, like people were able to come together in different ways. So I think, we just need to tune into what we need each generation and learn a little bit. They say history repeats itself. Like maybe the good parts of history can start repeating themselves too. Both could be true. Like
100%. I mean, it only takes a small percentage of people really with the same message of love and compassion and growth and empowerment. And once they start singing that same song or vibrating on that same frequency, then it's expandable, so you can start to change it. So I feel like there is definitely a lot of value in creating that sanctuary of thought that allows people the ability, right, to transition from what they've been conditioned to believe is going to happen when their kid goes outside to what actually happens. And then having that community where people actually care if they see your kid, if I see your kid or something, I'm like, hey, I saw your kid at the store, everything okay? Yeah, so everything's good. So it's just knowing, and then also the kids knowing that there's, of course, now there's locations and cell phones, that's an advantage for parents, right? So now you can kind of see the location where they had no idea where we were. It was just wherever we said we was at is where we was at.
If they even asked.
It's just like, as long as you home, it's safe, everything is good, like no scratches, you're not looking like you were doing anything strange. Cool.
Yeah.
Right. So definitely a lot to be done. I feel like moving forward with everything so anything that you need from me, please feel free to reach out in any capacity, even if it's just in communication, just because I feel like it's a blessing for divine alignment. By divine assignment, we were placing each other's energy for us to be able to sit here and communicate. So anything that you need from me, I'm definitely 100% here.
I appreciate that. I'm sure the audience feels the same way. Three words kind of popped up based on what we were just kind of talking about. And I think that if I were to choose a way to get through some of those problems that we were talking about, it was love, authenticity, and education. So, I mean, love is always going to be the answer if you ask me. Like, we've got to just love people through some of these torments, some of these these programs, some of these things that we've been, even our narrative. So using that love, but using that love to also help you be in alignment with your authenticity And then the education seems to be a huge part of breaking people out of some of these cycles, because like I was stuck in a negative cycle of like hurt and pain and trauma. I didn't know you could change the way you thought or felt. And so for me, like I was like, that was a huge game changer, because I was like, I don't have to be a victim of my emotions anymore. Probably a lot of kids in like that inner city are probably don't realize either, just like I didn't, that they could break free from some of that stuff. Like we talked about earlier about the two kids in one home, or like one of them ended up, being a clean freak, and one of them ended up being messy based on, maybe what they saw. But what would you speak to, like the same thing with that inner city population? Like one person may end up stuck there their whole life, and one person may see that sign, and every day they like wake up and look at it and like use it to drive it. Like
that's where camaraderie comes in, though.
Yeah.
And that's where understanding what education means, from the root word educo, right, to draw from within. So as we continuously educate our youth that we are the source, right? The source is, we are the infinite source within. So to educate means to continuously look inward and continuously improve. Your circumstances are just that. They can be changed at any time. It's just about, you see what could be considered to some as a problem, but to every problem there's a solution. So the longer you draw within and really figure out a way, that's why sometimes we see, a 14-year-old kid might have a business that's doing $5 million a year.
Yeah.
It's just like, and they're all the time, their parents aren't like, their parents could be a teacher and something that's not very entrepreneurial, and the kid had a vision like, I need a $5 million company. Like, you're like, what? The parents just like, oh, we rich now. It's different. All right, because like, so I just feel like,
but then someone from that same community may never leave.
Well, now, so then through our education, right, we and having innovators like us at the forefront, we provide situations and opportunities that you don't have to leave. You could improve, right? You could get into, whether it's construction, or you can get into community development, to where you are a part of making that community. Because realistically, like, I love my neighborhood. Like, it's actually cool right now to this day. Every single street that I've ever lived on is actually really cool right now to this day. So it's just, I feel like once we change the energy or help adjust the frequency of how we look at our dynamics, no matter what they are, then I feel like that energy can kind of permeate through the household even, right? With that vibrant kids thinking like, now because they're exposed to more information, you might as well use all the information you're exposed to. Like, listen, there's options. We didn't care as much about people outside of our neighborhood because we didn't know about them.
Yeah.
Now you know about everybody and everybody's lifestyle. Like, so I was looking for people that could represent where we all meet in different, demographics and genres and different ways of life and ways of thinking. And in that journey, I'm like, wow, influencers look like everything. Like, there's older people, younger people, people that, RV life, there's all these different thought processes, there's doctors, there's mindset mastery, there's all these different things, and they have hundreds and hundreds and thousands, and sometimes millions and millions and millions of followers. I was like, man, this is dynamic. So really being able to really like gather that, maybe get these people to where they're actually interacting and being able to empower more people in environments that they feel comfortable in, that's gonna, I feel like, help resonate down to the kids, because more people are having the experience. Because even on social media, like, you're not really getting the experience of the person. Like, you can kind of see what they're saying, you can kind of get their videos, but just imagine if you're in the room and there's something about them, and all the people in there also gravitated to that energy. So you guys, there's a whole lot of synergy going on in the room. And then, there's friends, there's always things to do. You could be close friends, or you could just be, hey, I'll meet you at the lounge friends. Like, there's so many different ways that we can just start interacting and improving life.
Yeah, I totally agree. I see what you're saying though about like taking the best of what they can and then molding that into the greatness. But also my heart just feels like there's a lot of people like you that can push through those programs and what they saw. But there's also some other people that might not see that they have resources or might not know that there's an app like this out there, or they might just like have a little different conditioning where they feel like they
True.
can't break free. So
That's true
for
though. That's true
yeah.
though. We have to have a solution for that though.
Mhm.
Like, so you're right. So we have to have a solution for that because, and I think that's going to be through community,
Mhm.
because the only way you really see it is to be able to see it. So we actually have to enter into the veins of the community, whether it's through the community organizations, through the nonprofits, and we empower them with these programs. Through our level of success, we become in a philanthropic position to where we're able to start going into these neighborhoods, and we partner with people that are already influential, that are respected, and we just start creating these options. Because people, what I realized, I have a really powerful gentleman who got caught into a bad situation in Las Vegas.
Mhm.
He's actually a pastor, and like it's so dynamic. We met in my building randomly. We ended up being staying on the same floor, right? Like I was on one side of the floor. Like we got off the elevator together. It's weird. We meet in the lobby through one of my business partners. They were ended up talking, had me come down. We met. We getting ready to go back to the room. We get off on the same floor and we go in the opposite directions, right?
Wow.
So this is how we become.
Yeah.
Like, you can come over here, we can finish talking. Because usually in the elevator you split. That's it. Like it's whatever. But we got off on the same floor, so it's very serendipitous. So I'm like, let's finish talking. So we ended up becoming friends really fast, and I started because one of my passions is helping people build their brands and like really showing and really assisting as much as possible and getting to the next level. I've always bet on potential from my music industry days and whatever. So we kind of decided to start helping him scale. But he was a street pastor, so he was going to all of the hoods that no one would go to.
Ooh.
And his thing is the love gang movement. So he had to have everybody put their L's up, and these is what people would consider dangerous, or they're gangbangers, or they sell drugs, or whatever it is. And he was going to get them to join together in prayer. Like, so he's Mr. Hood and Holy, Pastor Adonis Bryant, and so he's a street pastor. End up getting into a situation, but I had an opportunity to like be with him in real life and just see like people were like, this was the power of social media. Like people were coming up to him asking him to pray for them, and I was like, wow, he was doing it on the spot. He was changing people's lives on the spot. I'm like, wow, this is crazy. So we need to partner with those types of people and empower them with the abilities to have programs that, because
Mhm.
they look good, they sound good, they're charismatic, they're offering a different message, they can talk to anybody, and then we boom. Now all of a sudden, those kids who didn't have no hope are like, oh, that's what I saw on Instagram. That's what I saw on TV. That's cool. I want to go see. I'm over here. And then they get into something and there's options. And then now we're starting to able to kind of make an impact, right? Because I mean, they may or may not be always one that's left by the wayside, because once you start teaching camaraderie, now we have allies that now everybody's, because they're not so thinking about me. Now they're thinking about, man, Andrew don't never come outside. Let me go knock on Andrew's door and see if he want to come down to the community center. It's cool down here, right? Because you're not, it's not so me. It's kind of like
Yeah.
we. And that's that whole
Yeah.
camaraderie teamwork thing. So
I love that. And also what you said about like entrepreneurship and leadership is we have to go through those experiences, especially as a business owner. I'm sure you probably know this, like, but use those experiences to become that influencer, to become that person that people look up to. Because I think sometimes people just want to be the influencer, like they ask American children, like, what do you want your career to be? And most
really,
of them now, instead of being doctors and lawyers,
what?
they all want to be
Oh, it's terrible.
influencers. But the problem is they haven't been through those life experiences that will change them or direct them to that area that, like, maybe they like fashion, or maybe they like makeup, or maybe they like cars, which is good, but that doesn't necessarily mean they have like this like turning point or precipice in their life that is like, no, I have to make this my purpose, or this is
Yes.
like radically authentic to me and my vision or my spiritual like purpose for life. So what do you think about like people trying to do that without that step of experience?
I feel like there's only so much influence that you can have if you haven't gone through it. But I feel like in the way that information is received, that now, because it's so available, I feel like you could emulate and become, if that's something that you want to do. Because essentially, if, let's just say, I want to be a fashion guru and I'm a young lady, and I just get on TikTok, and now I'm actually turn myself into this fashion guru because I actually have to do the work. So I have to go to a store, or I have to order something on a certain site, or I have to call the dash shops and have something delivered within the hour. But then now I'm online, I'm having a perspective. So realistically, now, if people value your perspective or your opinion, then you do have the ability to be influential to those that are paying attention to you. So I feel like that's one of the benefits of these broadcast networks, right? They're really just broadcast networks. If you have the ability to connect, or if you're doing something that, people want to see, or you understand the algorithms, or you do the research, or if you have a team, then you can actually make an impact and you can make some money. I don't know what the longevity of that is. How does that correlate, unless you get enough capital to be able to properly invest, and you do your life insurance, you do all the things that are necessary. But how would you even know? Is your parental financial infrastructure in position to give that to you, or do we make through our organizations or through our programs that they know, like, if you're making X amount of dollars, make sure, because if you don't have another life plan, at least be okay financially based on, whatever this is. Because you never really know. Like, everybody doesn't make it to be a super rock star or something. So
Yeah. But like that story, both could be true. Some people can, and some people might not be, that might not be their journey. But what if someone's like, I know in my experience that I have a pretty good idea on my end. So if someone is headed towards some goal or direction, like, their subconscious mind can redirect you. So that's oftentimes when you think you're in alignment, but maybe you're not, then sometimes people and situations, places, even your body will kind of send you messages to kind of like get you right back on the path that you're meant to go down. So I don't know if you've ever seen people that, like, they were doing one thing in life, and then all of a sudden they had like this like moment in life that totally changed them, and they ended up going a whole different direction. That was my life, where I ended up having like one of these like aha moments where it was like, okay, I thought I was doing everything I was supposed to do, but I think there's like that society pressure where it's like, sometimes we do what we think we're supposed to do, what we think is authentic, but not necessarily like really tuning in. And sometimes those life experiences are what help us determine, like, okay, is this what I'm supposed to be doing, or is this what I really know that I'm supposed to be doing this?
sure.
It's definitely a different way of operating. And anything in your life that has kind of redirected you like that, or was it mostly like just your willpower, like your determination, that kind of got you out of those experiences?
I feel like it was the determination that got me into the situation that allowed me to see what the next option was, right? So I think the core principle is to be determined enough to go for it, because going will create a different view from not going, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
once you're in it, now you're able to see it, whether you are successful or whether it doesn't make it, it's still the lesson, and you still can kind of figure it out from there. But I think one of the things that I feel like that we should influence in people is that becoming still, because that's something that we've always been going. Like, I literally didn't stop until I was 49.
Mm-hmm.
I really realized it because I had been a natural optimist, naturally ambitious, from my dad or whatever my paradigm was. I just came from that environment, but I had never stopped. Like, I had never been still for any amount of time on purpose, other than, sleeping. But I don't know how still it's not. I'm just sleep. So I don't know if maybe I'm still, maybe I'm not. Right. But consciously actually calming in that moment, and then really focusing on purifying, because I feel like that's the only way you're going to get to the answer. And then whatever those inputs are that make you go in that direction, like, I mean, it's kind of, there's so many things that could be involved in that. It's like, what are they? We don't know, but we just gonna go. And if you go, another door is going to open. And then once you really evolve in your thought process, you realize that you can make decisions faster, you can kick the doors open faster. So that's kind of where I'm at now. It's like, okay, been in the garage for a long time, but it's still all a manifestation of everything that I really desired, was to be in the software and technology space, so that I could provide solutions built on love that will put me in a philanthropic position to be able to live my life mission, which is in the hunger for things. It's going to be more difficult having to ask, not being in a philanthropic position myself where I can lead. Once I'm leading, then it's a lot easier for me to be effective. So it's all part of my manifestation, but I do realize that there's been consistent roadblocks, right? And whether it's and you're self-imposed, obviously, because sometimes I know the information. Sometimes I'm making a decision that with my time that could have been made differently, right? If this is the ultimate goal, is that what I'm supposed to be doing, right now? Like, what's the answer to that? Maybe you can offer me some insight.
Yeah, so I do actually have some insight on that. Intuition is a muscle. So the more that you use your intuition and the more you follow those voices and inner guidances, the more that you're strengthening that muscle. So someone that's never listened to their intuition is going to have a lot harder time getting to their highest self, because they don't know what those intuitive hits feel like. Also, like you said, like taking the time to allow ourselves to think. Our brain is processing 40 million bits of information every second.
Yeah, that's amazing.
So by allowing ourselves to take a moment to step back, we do have a little bit more clarity. We are able to see things without the emotion, but I like to think of it this way. So you probably have felt this in your life at some point. So like you said earlier, like the synchronicities of walking on to that same level as the pastor at the same day. So I like to believe, and this is what I've found, is that those little synchronicities are kind of like, you remember the Hansel and Gretel story where they left the breadcrumbs and the whole goal was to follow the breadcrumbs back. I believe those synchronicities are like little breadcrumbs from your highest self going like, hey, go this way.
Yeah.
Like your right path is this, just keep following these little signs. Transversely, also opposing that is the resistance. So when we feel like we're trying so hard to make something happen, it's not working, we're trying to push that square peg into the round hole, we want this business to work, but maybe it's not meant to be, like those, I believe, the resistance is a warning from our highest self, like, hey, that's maybe not for you anymore. So yeah, tuning into those like feelings and emotions inside ourselves, it's like, okay, is this sending me towards my highest self? Like, is this the direction of like the best version of myself would take? Or am I going to end up detouring and taking longer time to get to that success because I'm trying to force something that's not meant to be? It's like following that inner guidance helps you get to where you're going to get to. You can't be radically authentic if you're not following that inner voice. It's like a inner GPS that's guiding us to where we're supposed to be. Like you mentioned earlier, like those thoughts wouldn't come into your mind if they weren't from somewhere, if it wasn't meant to be on some level of reality.
No, I 100% agree with that. I feel like that opportunities and being aware of opportunities is the key, right? Because again, like I've had a blessed life full of opportunities where I've been put in positions that I manifested, but I wasn't aware enough to take all the way advantage of them. So these doors, massive doors, would open based on my manifestation of where I'm really trying to go. But whether I'm distracted or I'm not in the mental position to take full advantage of it, and it happens. Like, perfect example. And I'll just give you one because there's multiple. But so at the time, we had I was in music for a while, and we had an artist named Mike Sean. He was the first R&B artist signed to Interscope. So Interscope is Jimmy Iovine, all that. So he's the very first R&B guy. And Jimmy had there's another record label called Cherry Tree Records. It's like Jimmy Iovine's guy. And one day we went to the office, so I didn't really know him. And that's when that song Like a G6 was out. So Martin Kirschenbaum. So that was his group, Like a G6. So randomly I went to this office because our deal was through Vincent Herbert, a la Lady Gaga. So we're like all in the mix, right? So going to his office, and I had my brand, Rich Taste, and I had this Buddha shirt. It was crazy. Bronze, Swarovski crystals. It was crazy. And this is why Like a G6 was out. So it's like, wow. It's like, he's like, oh my God, I need you to do, you know what I'm saying, these shirts or whatever for, you know, for my label and for Like a G6. Like, cool, it's on. So we end up constantly missing. And then at that time, they had made a misstep with My Sean's record when that was when Birthday Sex was out with Jeremiah, and you know, 10,000 spins a week. My Sean had a song called Kiss Me, would have been a great prelude to Birthday Sex, because usually you kiss before you have sex, right? So, but Kiss Me was like the kiss before sex. They chose to go with a song called Just a Kiss, which at the same time when babies are singing Birthday Sex, now you got this kid who's really cool, who's an actor on Lincoln Heights on ABC Family, who's really doing some things, and he got this song saying, we ain't gotta go all the way, but maybe, you know what I'm saying? Great song, wrong timing, right? So things that kind of started to, you know, unravel, and I actually needed to talk to Jimmy, but there were some layers, and I mean, we were signed to him, but there's still some layers, right? So we're standing at the Fairmont in New York. I was on some level of a business trip, right? Standing at the Fairmont. I get off on the floor, and in the hallway is Martin Kirschenbaum. His walking to Jimmy's room, which is like the penthouse. I was just in a regular room. It was Fairmont. It was nice, but it wasn't, you know, it was Jimmy Iovine. I'm sure it was the thing. Yeah. Right? Yeah. So we notice each other because we're seeing each other. Like, I say what's up, he says what's up, so obviously we know each other, and I don't take advantage and go talk to Jimmy or see what's going on or talk to him or anything. I just kind of like go in the room. So it's like, duh, like what, you know, just things like that. Having what an opportunity, everything that I manifested, needing to talk to Jimmy, needing to talk to him, all these different things, and then not being aware or just having the wherewithal to take, you know, full advantage of that opportunity. So
yeah, and sometimes it's like the hindsight looking back. It's so easy to see that like one step you could have taken, but had you taken that step, like maybe you wouldn't be here right now. Like
oh, we'd be in the south of France. You'd be on my you'd be on my podcast. When I saw you on your crystal mind, I was like, you know what? That's incredible. Fly her out.
Yeah.
Send the jet.
Yeah. And then you might not be worried about these inner city kids.
I think I probably would have, though, because that was already after that journey. Like, we had already been going hard as an independent label.
Yeah.
We had a rap group called DY Click. We did, you know, video. We were doing that, and then kind of got distracted, and then kind of got more into the management and the writing from the back end. So I still had that lineage, and it just would have been, you know, faster. But I feel like, hey, listen, whenever those doors or those forks in the road, like, you know, at least both doors were halfway decent, you know? So yeah. It was like, so I definitely feel blessed for the direction. I feel blessed to be here. I feel blessed to be in this position, but like, it's still a test, right? I still am in position to need to build a team of people that have similar visions, and be in rooms, you know, speaking with, you know, great people like you, to where, you know, you're elevating my mindset, and hopefully I'm providing some value to you. And then, you know, we keep on having these conversations, and we get to our goals, and then we make that impact. So I feel like I got faced with that stimuli early enough to light the fire, to know that one way or the other, you know, God willing, one way or the other, we're gonna get back and be able to do the things that I'm super passionate about, not just in, you know, the Crenshaw district, but nationally, and then hopefully globally.
It's true, but not always can we like take those like points and like see them. You know, the further back from perspective we get, and we can look to our like old self, it's so much easier. Hindsight 2020. Like, if I had done that instead of this, it's like, but sometimes you just don't realize. So I grew up in Colorado with a bunch of brothers, and at the time, you remember they would give us these door-to-door stuff to sell door-to-door?
Yeah.
And you'd be
Okay.
like, hey, I'm trying to win this like teddy bear for like, 5,000 points.
Yeah.
I just need to sell you like all this stuff. And so I learned door-to-door sales like
Wow,
at a
that's
young
amazing.
age, like trying to hustle for these like elementary like
Yeah, that's impressive.
programs. So at that age, I learned like, okay, you have to ask. Sometimes you're going to get rejected. But at some point, I realized having all brothers, I wanted to be like more feminine. I think I saw like a beauty pageant, like a Miss America or something on TV. And one day, like a light went off. It was like, okay, you're going to take this skill of what you learned of going door to door and selling these little like trinkets for like to people. And then you're going to go and now you're going to go tell people that you want a beauty pageant coach. So at 15 years old, I went and crowdfunded these people to like teach me how to walk in pageants and what to wear and how to do my hair and what makeup was, because I had no clue on any of this. I was not feminine. Like I thought matching Hanes sweatshirt and sweatpants, that I thought that I was good. Like, I did not grow like culture has changed, especially with fashion since that time. And little did I know that I had totally put that to the side. Never really, I won first runner-up twice on Miss Teen Colorado.
What kind of shoes though, before you get too far? With that matching sweatsuit, what kind of shoes would you have on?
With my
Which are matching out. When you did it, what kind of shoes did you have on with it?
Well, definitely I had like some heels. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So yeah.
Okay.
Full out. But the thing is that little did I know that putting that to the side, like I ended up becoming a mom. I was retail. I did all these different, I was in real estate for a while. And then after my turning point where life kind of switched, I had a bunch of stuff happen all at once. Like I had broken my skull and I had to have like my skull repaired and my teeth and my jaw had to be all rebuilt. And then I separated from my ex of 17 years, and there were just a bunch of things that happened. And then my house was struck by lightning. I fell and broke my ankle in 4 places. All of this happened like within a very short period of time. And that's when I learned that I could change the way that I was reacting to life and life was reacting to me. But little did I know that little tiny part of myself, that something that back then at 15 guided me to go do that pageant and go like learn those skills, that the first time I was invited to like a business networking event after I had kind of decided to, follow my own heart and follow my own dreams, I ended up getting invited to a Russian beauty pageant that was told it was a business event. And so I ended up, now I'm becoming into this pageantry circuit after years of like thinking that there was like, I never even thought of that again. Like it really wasn't in the back of my mind of like, that's something I'm going to do again someday. And it kind of ended up coming to me. And I was like, what is this thing? Like, who told me this was a business event? But now I hold the title of Miss National United States Woman of Achievement. And I got my biggest corporate client from that international beauty pageant I did a couple years ago when I turned 40. So I had no idea that would ever circle back into being part of my life again. I had no idea. And people were like, you're too old. Don't do that. Like, that's probably not going to help your business at all. But my authentic energy was telling me, I had said no 4 times to this bigger pageant. And, eventually they kept asking me and they're like, no, we really think you're supposed to be part of this. And I finally said yes. And when I did, like, I could feel the alignment and I knew that something was going to come out of that professionally, even though everyone told me, don't do that. You're going to waste your time and energy. But in my heart, I knew it was taking me somewhere. And so it's brought me to a lot of wonderful places. I get to help a lot of veterans and help people that are in need now because of the different platforms. But I would have never had my biggest corporate client, and I would have never had huge success had I not tuned into some part of myself that I could have easily laughed off and been like, oh, that's not part of me. Or, I mean, that was a childhood dream of mine, but
That's impressive, though. I mean,
I could have easily put it on the back burner.
yeah. Yeah, it was in you though, because you already did it and you went for it. That's so there we go, right? You had a vision, you went for it. That's skill. Like I wish that I would have went door to door. That's the only thing I'm missing. So I'm so impressed that like when I meet people that have done that, because you're just used to facing opposition all day long and having to have an angle and just coming up with different things at a young age. That is extremely in my opinion. I feel like just being able to understand that thought process and having that psyche of like, oh well, I'll be back tomorrow. Boop, 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 hey,
Yeah.
peanut M&Ms, like
Yeah.
whatever the case may be. But
Every
right?
no's one step closer to a yes.
Yeah, no, like that's impressive, and that I love that you realistically allowed something that was passionate about, like you saw the opportunity and you didn't shy away from it, and you allowed your best self to shine through to get you to the next level, right? So again, that's a blessing.
Yeah, if we can just get that energy that's sometimes working against us to work for us, it's amazing the places that we can go in life.
Transmutation.
Yep, an our alchemy or just transformation, whatever word you want to use for it. We're a lot more powerful than we realize.
Yeah. When I recently discovered that we're emitting 3.5 trillion volts of electricity at all times, I started to once I knew that, I started to feel so much more powerful. And then they keep making references to being able to power a city with the amount of electricity that comes, out of your body. So, and then I experienced it, right? So there's a product that like I've never really signed up to sell anything. It's like I kind of like not my thing, but I got exposed to this product. It's called X39. It's this photo. You know about these photo therapies. So I'm like, so after understanding this energy and then understanding that this is something that's reflecting energy back into you, and you feeling like, I mean, I'm talking about, I'm like, wow, with no caffeine, no nothing. This is actually just my body.
Yep.
But all this energy is just getting lost. It's just going away. Like no one's ever. So really, we need to respect that, right? Because it's a lot of energy. So really purifying from the root and really getting into yourself, being your authentic self is going to allow that to be a lot more pure energy, which will create a ripple effect that creates more and more positivity. So being your authentic self, purifying from the root, and becoming aware that change is possible, that improvement is possible, and that ascension and your ultimate self is possible, but you have to keep going. That energy will create a positive change. Like that's, I feel like, is one of the keys.
And essentially what I hear you saying is that you and I are walking Hollywood signs. We're that glimmer. We're that glimmer of hope. We're that glowing icon that's on the side of the hill that's saying, if they could do it, if he could come from his inner city, if he could come from his inner city youth, if she could come from her little tiny town in Colorado with graduating class of 80 people, like little teeny, it's on maps now. But
you made it.
Yeah. But if we could do that, there's other people that were in our position that are wondering, do I have it in me? Can I get to where I want to? Will I be able to have an app someday, or 3, or multiple books, or will I be able to run a business? Like, we all have different starting points. I have this analogy I use sometimes. It's like people are like a bag of popcorn. So intensity in life is like that heat that comes, on the bag of popcorn. Sometimes the kernel will pop right away. And they're ready for transformation. It's like just a little tiny bit, and it's like, and sometimes there's those kernels that take a while, but eventually they pop. And then there's the other ones that lay dormant at the bottom of the bag, and they just, no matter how much heat life gives them, they just never really are able to, come to their full fruition. So, I mean, without judging each other, just because our popcorn kernel might have popped a little earlier doesn't mean that anyone, any other kernel should be judged differently.
That's important too.
Yeah.
Removing the perspective of judging anything outside of yourself, right? Because anytime that you're actually judging, like it's okay to offer insight, but to judge is kind of like, I mean, because I've been like, what would you like to do? But this is how I see it, and this is kind of how I might do it. But at the end of the day, you have to be satisfied with your decision and how you feel about it. So
yeah. We come into the world alone and we end on the world alone. I mean, and I'm not gonna be able to point, hey, it was this person, and then I mean, the more radical accountability that we can take, I believe, is the better.
So I have one request then. So I mean, it's few and far between when you meet people with such elevated thought and perspective, right? So one request is that, so I am seeking to open the doors faster, right? Because I already know they're open, right? It's only me that's putting the blockades, no matter what it is, right?
Yep.
Like whether it's making the extra call or make the 100 calls or going to whatever, or like making sure I'm in front of, every investment firm and whatever the case may be, right? So maybe you can assist me in the thought process and the practice of opening those doors faster, because I manifested a massive plate and I'm like, oh, but there wasn't that many people here along the way to kind of be able to understand it all. So I know that I have to be the one to kick those doors open really, really fast and then provide the infrastructure for those that want to, that has some interest in it to be able to come along. So that's my request from you, is that we stay in communication, and that whenever you have time, obviously, but that and then whatever I can do, if you found value in any insight, that if you have any blockades, and then we could hold each other accountable and make sure that there's just going. And then that way we maximize, because really I like vacation more than I like work. So let's work fast and vacation long, right?
Yes. Well, one thing you'll know about me, I do have an extensive network. So thank you to all our viewers. You're part of that. But definitely will want you to stay connected to me on social media, because whatever person you need, I probably have a couple of them that can help you, whatever room you need to be in, or if you're looking for speaking engagements. I have incredible mentors in my life that help me. I think that's something all people should have, mentors to help them get to those next levels. But I'm always challenging people in their thought process. I would like to challenge you to two things. So there's something that to be said about, like, I know you love this infinite energy, but number one, your dreams could be chasing you instead of you chasing your dreams.
For sure.
And then number two, there is the potential that everything you're already looking for is already done. So
I agree, though. It's just a matter of getting to that frequency, right? Obviously, to where it's actually happening, and then getting there faster, right? So if you have the wrong phone number, you dial 1 2 3 4. If it's the 9, or what is it like that?
So right before bed, one thing I love to give little takeaways and little tools for people to use in their daily basis. I'm a big nerd for all of those little hacks, and so one thing I'd like to challenge you to do is right before bed, say this little phrase: "Thank you for showing me my problem is already solved."
I like that. Thank you for showing me my problem is already solved. Yeah.
Because then you're teaching your brain that there's already a solution. I'm going to be looking for that solution. The solution is going to keep coming towards me. It's kind of like activating that reticulating activator system. So like when you buy a car and then all of a sudden you see that car everywhere, you're like, how did I just, those cars were already. So by saying that, your brain is going to be trained to be looking for the solution and that it's already solved every day. Yes. So right before bed, thank you for showing me that this problem is already solved. And then your brain can kind of process everything, because you're right, you aren't just sleeping at night. You're like, I might be sleeping or might be doing more, but yeah, there's a little bit more going on behind the scenes than we realize when we're sleeping as well. But we do download everything we see and hear throughout the day. So if you tell yourself that right before bed, there's just a little bit of you that will go to sleep knowing that your solution is coming to you. So
I 100% appreciate that and value insight. So 100%. Yes, I will definitely add that. What about throughout the day? Because feel like I'm soft. Just throughout the day, I can add
Anytime
it.
that feels like appropriate, yeah, I would definitely add that in there.
Mm.
I think it was Neville Goddard if that came up with that phrase. If I had to pull it out of ambiguity. But yeah, definitely. There are so many possibilities in the world. What we focus on is what becomes. And the more we focus on solution-based thought, the more that we focus on the fact that it's already coming to us or it's already been achieved, it's just going to help us overcome objections before they come. Because if we focus on the problems that are going to come up, if we're like, oh, there's going to be this blockade or this won't,
sure.
I mean, the more we focus on the problems, the more problems come. The more we focus on the solutions, the more solutions come.
Yeah, I feel like I'm definitely past that point because I'm like deemed the solutionist for so many situations and so many people naturally. I feel like I'm past the point of having any limitation in thought of the solution, right? Because I'm really a solution-based thinker. I feel like where the hurdle that I need to jump over is I think maybe it is making the right decision for every situation. I think time management, time management is probably my biggest issue because my plate is so full. So efficiency, just in regards to like really getting to that definitive goal, swiftly, almost like the difference between you having to think about something and using Chat GPT, where you're going to have all the information, right here or something, right? So it's kind of like getting the mind to understand, because we're getting the example of what it could be. No, we don't have to ever be that, but like when you drive a Porsche, like Taycan Porsche Turbo, like the electric one, it goes so fast that the human on the street, the human mind had never been experienced that amount of G-force, that amount of fast, right? So it already kind of like opens your mind to know that yes, it can go faster, because if bliss for me is realistically just being on the beach and showing I like to run on the beach, I like to chill, I like boating, I like flying, I like just really hiking and enjoying life. So how we were speaking before, it's like really doing exactly what you want to do. Like this, to me, this is the means to an end, right? Hopefully everyone enjoys the solutions, we get to our goals, but ultimately in between impacting the kids, prefer to be just chilling, right? So that's why only the reason I say is like, hey, making those decisions. So I'm gonna do that more often throughout the day. It's like, thank you for showing me that the solution is already there. And so we're gonna test that.
Yeah, I'm all about it. Let me know how that one works. I got more for you too.
Okay, no, I appreciate you.
Yeah, no, this was a really great podcast. I really loved talking to you. I loved how you opened up when we really got to the root of who you are and why you're doing what you're doing, and you can see the passion for your people and your community. It's definitely what drives you. That's undeniable. I think that more people need to have that purpose that is driving them. And if they haven't found their purpose yet, maybe their popcorn kernel hasn't popped yet, that's okay too.
I love that analogy.
That's okay too.
Right.
But like, just like think about, maybe it might be something tied back to your childhood. Maybe it might be something. And as entrepreneurs, I also love what you said about like, if I had tools or resources to help you out, because I think we need to collaborate more and not be afraid to work together. And, there's plenty of room at the top. Let's go up there and try and pull everyone else up from our Hollywood sign. Be like, come on, guys, you got this too. You got this
Backlight
too.
it, make it, put the little couches in front. Like,
yes,
for sure.
Absolutely.
Make it conducive to our visions. Appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you for joining me here at Icon Industries and wonderful podcast. If now people that watch this episode, they might want to get in contact with you. How would they be able to get in contact with you? Just look at that.
Okay. Hello, everyone. I am on social media. I'm on Instagram at The Visionary Path. And my YouTube channel is also The Visionary Path. Hopefully I'll be, putting some more content up there, but at least you can understand my perspective on how I think. My book, The Visionary, a collaboration of visionary insights, is on Amazon. And my name is Gerald Lacey II. So Instagram at the Visionary Path. And yeah, hope to see you soon.
Yeah, reach out to him, share this episode if this was helpful to someone that you know that's maybe struggling with the inner city life or would love to get past some of these blocks and become a wildly successful entrepreneur, that things just line up for you and your dreams start chasing you just like Gerald. So
I love that. Thank you.
yeah, it was a pleasure having you here today and look forward to having you again maybe another time.
Yes, please. For sure. Anytime. This is a great facility. This is a great experience for sure.
Awesome. Well, thank you, and we'll see you all later.